Pal.
Yes, abatuuliza tubaaniriza nate olunaku olwaleero ngenda kuba munaye nkutuusaako ebigenda okuba nga bigenda mu maaso mu press conference eyo gye mulabye egenda okubaawo olunaku olwaleero nga His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu ssaako ne Dr. Kano Kizza Besigye n'abopposition abalala okuva mu bitundu oba okuva mu bibiina ebyenjawulo okuva mu bibiina ebyenjawulo ng'ogyeko ekyammawo olunaku olwaleero bakuŋŋaanye okwogera ku nsonga ez'enjawulo. Nsuubira ezimu ku nsonga ezigenda okwogerwako nze zino ez'ebibiina engeri gye obululu gye busanyibwamu oba engeri Museveni ennaku zino gy'azannyamu ebyobufuzi ewali okukwata abavuganya nga bali ku polling station n'ensonga endala nnyingi bwe zityo. Katugende munda mbe nga nkutuusaako byonna ebigenda mwebale kubaako sharinga yita invitinga tutambuze ekintu kino mwebale nnyo mwebalire ddala.
Hello. Comrades. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, comrades and members of the press. Today is yet another extraordinary afternoon in Uganda, where we have come to address the media in terms of where we see our country destined to. And we are privileged this afternoon that this press conference unusually is being graced by different political formations, and in these different political formations is the Forum for Democratic Change. One Uganda, one people, one Uganda. To the same effect is the JEMA, that is headed by His Excellency Honorable Asman Basaliwa, Akakala Bukana Kamai. We are also graced with the presence of the President and leader of PPP, Honorable Saddam Gaida, you're most welcome. We are also humbled by the presence of the Chairman of the Forum for Democratic Change, Honorable Waswa, you all know him, you're most welcome. We are equally humbled by the presence of the Lord Mayor and the Vice President of the Forum for Democratic Change, you're most welcome. We are humbled by the presence of the Secretary General of the National Unity Platform, the spokesperson of the Forum for Democratic Change, the head of mobilization, NUP. We have another eminent leader, a member of us in the struggle for a very long time, an astute fellow, the Honorable Mukaku, you're most welcome. We have the Honorable Nzugu, the Deputy President of Western Uganda, Forum for Democratic Change, you're most welcome. I want now to invite our speaker Honorable Asman Basaliwa to take us through a prayer. You're a bit holy. I know from Kira College that you are holy, and I know that Allah, with your holiness of Kira College, will bless to upon us in these deliberations. I thank you.
Thank you very much. In honor of the Almighty, let's stand up. The Almighty God thank you for the gift of life. We thank you for the opportunity to converge here. We are once again gathered here for the good of our country. We know we have individual interests. We know we have individual aspirations. But we also recognize that this country is bigger than all of us, and also recognize that Uganda is here forever. Give us wisdom and guidance as we deliberate and go through today's session for the good of our country. Amen.
Because I would have been lost. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me straight away in the interest of time, invite the person going to take us through the rest of this session this afternoon, and that is the very able Honorable Semjo Ibrahim Nana. You're most welcome.
The party presidents, our leaders in the different formations, the media, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for honoring our invitation. My colleague from North has given the background. We will have a joint statement that's going to be read to you, to the country through you, and then we will have the leaders of political parties and different formations making comments. We will not follow any order. We will just invite them maybe the way they are seated. So I now want to invite on our behalf the Secretary General of National Unity Platform, who will read the statement. When he has completed reading of that statement, the leaders will sign that statement, and after that, the leaders of the different political parties and formations will make a few comments, and then we'll allow maybe a few questions, clarification, and then our meeting will adjourn. The president of the FDC, as you are aware, left prison yesterday, but he has asked one of the deputies, the Lord Mayor, who will be the one signing on his behalf, on behalf of the FDC. He will also be the one making a brief comment on behalf of the FDC. I now want to invite, we'll start with the reading of the statement by the Secretary General of NO, and thereafter we'll be inviting our leaders to make comments on that statement. So, Secretary General, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, this is a joint statement of political leaders, political parties, formations against the present thuggery of elections in Uganda as exemplified in the by-elections of Kayunga, Omoro, and Soroti. 1st August 2022. Fellow countrymen and women, the people of Uganda have for many years been irritated by the present rigging of elections by the Museveni regime. The past 5 general elections have been far from free and fair. At every election cycle, Museveni and his small clique of henchmen have continuously usurped the will of the people of Uganda, aided by the military, the Electoral Commission, and all manner of state apparatus. The judiciary, which should ordinarily dispense justice in election matters, has not done so because it is equally under capture. Be that as it may, the various political parties and formations
have continuously participated in these elections because of our firm belief that democracy and the rule of law are the most ideal means through which we can have a peaceful transition and change of leaders at the lower levels. Unfortunately, the quality of elections has now gone from bad to worse, each election being worse than the previous one. Mr. Simon Byabakama's Electoral Commission has proved itself to be the worst in the history of our country. The rigging and open-day thuggery, as exhibited in the by-elections of Kayunga, Omoro, and Soroti, is now done with so much boldness and ridiculousness. This demonstrates the crisis at hand. Among others, the three by-elections have been characterized by the following. 1. Kayunga. The Electoral Commission in Kayunga supplied pre-ticked ballot papers to regime operatives. They arrested over 100 of Honorable Harriet Nakwede's polling agents and supervisors the night before and on election day, in the hope of carrying out ballot stuffing and deterring. Robin and Abanja went on a bribing spree, some of which you members of the media captured. Despite all the ballot stuffing and violence, Honorable Harriet Nakwede emerged winner with a difference of over 15,000 votes. Shamelessly, the Electoral Commission announced the NRM candidate winner without any results. Contrary to the law, the Electoral Commission refused to hand over a copy of the tally sheet, relied on to declare results at the tally center because there was none. They gave themselves several days to doctor both the tally sheet and the other forms. Recently, the regime has ensured that the election petition in Kayunga is dismissed on the most ridiculous grounds. The will of the people of Kayunga was usurped. In Omoro, ladies and gentlemen, the regime took advantage of the poverty-stricken population and engaged in open bribery with items like soap and maize flour. Some people were bribed with as low as 2,000 shillings. Early morning on voting day, regime operatives working with crime intelligence moved from polling station to polling station, arresting Honorable Tolit Simon's polling agents and supervisors. By the end of the day, over 60 polling agents and supervisors out of 84 polling stations had been arrested, with the majority of the polling stations not manned by the polling agents assigned. The regime had a field day staffing. A man called Moses Kalangwa and other thugs took over the election. Yet again, the Electoral Commission had supplied pre-ticked ballot papers to regime operatives who transported them in vehicles without number plates. Whoever questioned the open day thuggery was quickly arrested and detained, including members of parliament and other leaders. Hundreds of people were ferried from neighboring districts to participate in the voting. Despite a very low turnout in Omoro, the Electoral Commission gifted to Mr. Andrew Olanya with over 14,000 votes, and the Electoral Commission refused to avail copies of the tally sheet and the other forms relied on to declare results within the time frame within which one could lodge an election petition. The third instance is Soroti. As you all saw, in Soroti, police and the military spent the night prior to the election raiding homes of Honorable Moses Satan's polling agents and supervisors. FDC leaders, including the party president, were arrested and detained in Dokolo and other districts. The Electoral Commission yet again supplied regime operatives with pre-ticked ballot papers in favor of the NRM candidate, many of whom were caught red-handed by the ordinary people and were restrained by the police. Vehicles without number plates were deployed to transport pre-ticked ballot papers in Soroti. Every leader who dared question or deter the ongoing ballot stuffing was quickly arrested and detained. Some polling stations were closed before time and all voting materials confiscated by regime officials. At other polling stations, the residue of ballot papers after voting were collected and ticked in favor of NRM Zariko and thrown into ballot boxes. No tally sheet before the sham counting could start. At the tally center, several false results were read A notary sheet was provided to back the results. The Electoral Commission yet again conspired with the regime to rob the people of Soroti of their victory. These are just a few of the numerous violations. Now, therefore, we, the undersigned leaders, the leaders who are here, on behalf of our respective political parties and formations, recalling the sacrifices of our people over the years, including the thousands of Ugandans who died in the war that General Museveni led, claiming to fight against election rigging, do hereby make it clear that we shall not watch on as General Museveni, aided by Bakama, Nabanja, Todong, Tango Doi, and their ilk, to continue to hijack the will of the people with impunity. The what can they do attitude must stop. Elections must be free and fair, short of which they are not fit to be called elections. Going forward, we shall jointly or severally use any upcoming elections to organize and rally the population to defend their democratic rights and end the election madness that has bedeviled our country since independence. The current mega socio-economic crisis is directly related to the population having no say on how their country and her resources are managed. It is therefore urgent for the country to focus on how to get out of the current crisis and to procure a transition to an inclusive and democratic dispensation. I thank you very much.
Thank you, the Secretary General. We will now have the leaders signing the joint statement.
There are three copies. Each one.
We will have this statement signed. There are enough copies, and then we will get the party leaders to sign each of those papers that will be circulating, and then we'll make copies and distribute it to the media. So right now we'll be witnessing the signing. So each leader will sign, and then they will keep exchanging and signing. So when that has concluded, I will then invite the leaders to make comments. I want to welcome the Speaker of Kampala City, who is also with us here. So the next activity will happen after the signing, which is now taking place.
Yes, atuwuliriza essaawa yakuteekako mikono ku ebyo bye basazeewo nga babaliidi oba bakulembeze engeri gavumenti ya Yoweri Kaguta Museveni gyebbamu obululu awatali kuswala okukwata abali ku ludda oluvuganya naddala mu biseera by'okuddamu okulonda ng'ebibaddewo n'ebintu ebirala bingi. Bakuwadde ebyokulabirako ekyali e Kayunga, ekyali Omolo n'ekyali e Soroti, ng'obukodyo bwe bumu bwe bakozesa. Kuno kuliko okuggyako namba plate ku mmotoka ezigenda okukola ebikolobero, okukuba abantu n'okubakwata, okozesa poliisi n'amagye n'abalina emmundu abali mu leeya okukwata abakuuma obululu oba polling agents, saako n'okudistributinga obululu obuwedde okulonda. Muno bataddemu ebyokulabirako byonna nga akakiiko k'ebyokulonda kabeera mu mukago ogw'okunyaga obululu buno, kubanga babasaba empapula okuli obukakafu kwe balangiridde nga nazo tebazirinaso. Essaawa zino party presidents bali mu kuteekako mikono okuli owa Jema Asumani basalirwa Dr. Kano Kiza Besigye, okuli Billy Bwabyebi okuli Lord Mayor Elias Lukwago, kuliko ne His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. kuliko owa PPP naye kwali omwami yo naye ataddeko omukono. Nja kuba nkuleetera amanya gaabwe mpola mpola. Kino kituyamba oba tekituyamba? Kubanga abasajja bano bagenze okusalawo okuvaayo okwogera ku kino nga bakiraba kiringa akagenderere nti buli kulonda okuliwo wa by elections eziriwo enkola y'emu, okunyigirizibwa kwekumu, gavumenti ekola kyekimu, gavumenti ekola byebimu okunyaga obululu. Ne baba tebabalonze bo beerangirira, ne baba balonze ne babasinga bo still akakiiko k'ebyokulonda akasigala kalangirira oyo wa NRM ewatali bukakafu bwonna oba ewatali biwandiiko byonna. So kye tuliko olunaku olwaleero tukyagenda mu maaso n'okutuusaako byonna byonna ebigenda mu maaso. Mwebale nnyo, mwebalire ddala. Waliwo ambuuziza DP weeri. Nedda DP teriiwo, ekiraga nti yo DP eri contented n'ebyo ebigenda mu maaso oba ekyalina ebizibu byayo bye yagwamuko emabegakaawo. Tewaliwo akiikiridde DP era DP yo teriiwo ku mukago guno. Era mubaamu Maiko position otutte enfu muganda wange. Ekyo
I think we are just 1 minute away from concluding the signing. It appears to me that the signing has been completed. We will make copies and distribute to you, the media, after the briefing. And I'm going to start from my right. We will have the FDC making brief comments May I now invite the FDC Deputy President, but also at this function, acting as the President. We have two Vice Presidents here, the Honorable Muwonge, and I want to invite the FDC Chairman. The three of them will come here, and on behalf of the party, the Lord Mayor will make the FDC Deputy President will make a very brief comment, and then we'll be inviting the rest of the party leaders. So can we have the FDC?
Before you, members of the press, the leadership of the FDC, already introduced to you the National Chairman, Ambassador Birigwa, and also the Deputy President, Western Region, the Honorable Muwonge, and myself, Deputy President. We were informed our party president was arrested and detained in Dokoro. I was not able to make it to this meeting today. But our position is very clear on elections in this country. They are fraudulent. They are a mockery of democracy. What we have just witnessed in Soroti is despicable. On the eve of the elections, over 100 leaders and agents who had been deployed to man the electoral process were arrested, detained in various detention centers. Some were detained as far as Dokoro, including the party president, and the others were taken to Kendia. Quite a number of honorable members of parliament, including the Honorable Muwonge here, he was also arrested, and a couple of others. No offense had been committed by these leaders, and indeed there are no charges that were preferred against them. On the voting day, it was mayhem. It was thuggery, nothing else. And what happened? They raided various polling stations. In some polling stations, there was open bribery at polling stations. And also, members agents were picked. They could not witness what had happened. And you can imagine they were returned to the polling centers after the conclusion of the exercise, only to sign declaration of results forms. And as you have heard from the statement that has been read before you, at some polling station, the residue materials were were ticked in favor of Wariko and stuffed in the ballot boxes. And lots of dirty things happened. Of course, in total violation of the electoral laws, the criminality that was committed was done before cameras. Some of you witnessed what happened. Even the pre-ticked ballot papers, you all captured them on your screen, on your cameras. And there was no shame at all on the part of the regime to orchestrate this bloody thuggery. And we roundly reject the results of that election. It does not reflect the will of the people of Soroti East. It does not in any way meet the tenets, the standards set in the Constitution. And as we said earlier on, it's nothing else but a mockery of democracy. Going forward, we insist that the provisions of Article 3 give us a clear position, way forward on what we should be doing. Article 3
provides that whoever derogates from the provisions of the Constitution, whether they are in state power or not, they commit treason. So we state in no uncertain terms that what happened in Soroti is treasonable. All those agents of the regime, starting with Museveni himself, because he was the mastermind behind this, coming to Nabanja, the Prime Minister, and many others, the Tambo Dois, the Mukuras, and whoever, they committed treason. And once you commit treason, it's incumbent upon Ugandans to rise to the occasion. Because there is a command that we have always cited in the provisions of the Constitution. That command under Article 3, that the duty rests with Ugandans to stand up and deal with that kind of buffoonery. So it's up to now the people of Uganda. And as the FDC, we make a commitment to work hand in hand with our brothers and sisters in all the party formations that have committed themselves in this instrument to do whatever within our means under the provisions of Article 3 of the Constitution to defend the will of the people. It's important because the cornerstone of democracy, the cornerstone of constitutionalism is upholding the will of the people. So electoral exercises which do not reflect the will of the people are a farce, are a mockery of democracy. So this was a sham exercise, and the trail of that has been happening, as you are told. It happened in Omoro, happened in Kayunga, and we have not been in any way helped by the institutions that are supposed to dispense justice. I'll specifically talk about, as I conclude, what happened in the case of Nakwede. It is horrible. And it was well orchestrated. The case which was filed, the papers were duly submitted before court, the pleadings, and the registrar took his time to sign on the notes of presentation of the petition. And the law requires that the notes of presentation of petition shall be served together with the petition. Now the registrar took his time. I think after filing the petition, he did not sign the notes of presentation of the petition. He waited until after 4 days. And when you count the days, the 7 days provided for in the law, the service was done within time. Because he indicated the day when he signed, when he appended his signature on the notes of presentation of the petition. But the judge dismissed it on technicalities, that service was done out of time. You can see how the judicial has also been drafted into this network, this racket of thuggery. And a couple of other cases we can cite. So we can't stand this. We can't watch with arms folded. We are saying, going forward in the ongoing election cycles, it's not going to be business as usual. And we want Ugandans to embrace this message. We are committed here to working together as a team, as a formidable team, because we stand on the right side of the Constitution. We are the Constitution of this Republic of Uganda is on our side. And we invite Ugandans to firmly stand with us, and all of us who are before you here, we want to speak with one voice. We want to sing in unison that enough is enough, and we must deal with this buffoonery, with this thuggery, with this madness, with this nonsense as a united front. So we are really committed as the FDC in all aspects to deal with this madness. The Constitution should reign supreme. And we invite all stakeholders, please join us in this struggle. The very final thing is we invite the respective supporters of this formation, the members of the FDC, the members of NO, the members of JMA, PPP, and all other stakeholders. Let's bury our differences and rescue this country from the precipice. We rescue this country from the cliff. We are sitting on a time bomb as a nation. Unless we come together and deal with this madness, the junta will always go away with their thunder. Those remarks, I'd like to reiterate our commitment to dealing with this nonsense as a united front. May God bless you. I thank you. In less than a minute, bangambye okuvunulamu nti sijja kuddamu bingi naye ekiriwo mu ggwanga tewakyali kulonda kati mwami Yoweri Museveni bagezaako okuyisa wano ne wali ne babuzaabuza kati babikola mu misana gwaka mu ngeri ya kinanjo kya nkimize ayagala kyoyagala okukola kikole kati bakyabikkako n'akamu era bw'oba wabaddeyo akakyalimu akakunkuna Museveni yalagidde ddala nti kati okulonda asalawo bw'ayagala tekyabadde soloti baakutte ba agents ne ba leaders ne party president o FDC ne bamutwala ne bamusibira eddokolo paka ludaku lwajjo abakulembeze ne ba agents abasuka mu 10 polling stations ziri 63 abo byebakutte babadde basobola ozimaaninga bulungi naye buli gwe babadde balaba nti ajja kulwanyisa obubbi nga bakwata bukwasi nga basiba tewalina misango gye babaguddeko balina polling stations ezimu ng'otatayi a minute we batuuse nga materials okulonda kuwedde naye waliwo bino ballot paper bwebasigaddewo ne babukwata bonna ne babutiikingira aliko ne babuteekamu wali ne babala ba agents babakwata ne babatwala ne babasiba naye bwe babakomyawo olweggula abamu nga bagamba kati mujje musayininga DR forms ku kifuba mudumu kwa muntu ne babazaayo komera kakati eryo lyonna effujjo lye bakoze abo bannabbanja abatangu odoyi baani busemateeka liraga nti baba baziiza omusango gwa Nagomera gwe bayita treason. Soma article 3 bw'omenya ssemateeka n'okola effujjo erifaanana oba omenye oba oziiza omusango gwa Nagomera. Era ssemateeka mu nnyingo ey'okusatu akiteeka ku bannayuganda bonna nti bwe mulabanga omuntu alwanyisiza ssemateeka ng'aleesewo effujjo nga lye baakola bibaze bakola mu kulonda kuno muyina omuwaŋŋanga ng'amateeka bwe galagira. So n'olw'ensonga eyo ffe ng'aba FDC tuli beeteefuteefu era tuli wano okukakasa eggwanga nti tukwataganye ne bannaffe ab'ebibiina ebirala byonna kugenda mu maaso okulwanagana ne mwami Yoweri Museveni obutakyusa bubwi by'abantu. Era ekyo tweyama nti ssemateeka kitukakatako era nga tusaba nti mwenna abali eyo abatuwagira bamemba b'ekibiina kyaffe ekya FDC bamemba b'ekibiina ekya NUP ekya JEMA ekya PPP n'abalala mwenna abannayuganda ne bwe tuli mu kibiina tuleke okulumaŋŋana twaŋŋange n'akyemalira nga tuli kitole nga tugenda mu kalulu kano obululu bwonna obuddako naye tumwaŋŋange nga tuli kitole. So tuli wano okweyama tetuliredde okukola omulimu ogwo okulwanyisa n'akyemalira. Mwebale nnyo mwebale.
Thank you very much. That was the FDC. I now, like I said, I will follow the order from my right. I want to invite our elder, who is also leading the Red Carter movement, as you all know, retired Dr. Kiza Besigye, to give his brief comments. the request of the media is that when you finish the English version, you make, you summarize in Uganda. That's the request from the media. May I now invite Dr. Westgate and members of
A very good afternoon to all of you, ladies and gentlemen of the press. I think what we are doing here today, first of all, of course, as you realize, this is mainly an engagement of political parties, because political parties are the ones that go to elections. I am not leading a political party, and so I am not leading to the elections. And therefore my position is slightly different from theirs. But what we are dealing with here today is a very, very fundamental element of how this country will proceed. And I just want to make 3 points on that, in that regard. First is that we are making this statement when our country, Uganda, is in the middle of one of the worst social-economic crises that our country has faced. Every person almost, save for those whom we are united to work against, and there are a handful of people, every other citizen is in crisis of survival. In fact, we characterized the crisis in the country as a crisis of failure to thrive. Failure to thrive. An FTT crisis. That's the crisis in which our country is found today. Now, this crisis is a result, a direct result. It's an economic crisis, it's a social crisis, but the cause of the crisis is political. And the political cause to the crisis is what we are dealing with today. The fact that the people who live in this country, the greatest majority of the people who live in this country have no say in their country. That is where the socio-economic crisis comes from. That we are in a country where we have no say. We are taxed. We don't have a say as to what will happen to our money. Our wealth, which we had collected and was being managed collectively as our wealth, was all taken away by this handful of people. As we watch the national wealth in terms of public assets that Uganda had in 1986, public assets, all public assets were privatized to these individuals who are holding the country captive. And whatever else we produce, they use as they want. We have no say. That's where this crisis comes from. Having a country of people without a say. on how their country is managed or how their wealth is managed. That's why people have been crying in this current budget that as people are starving, they have appropriated nearly 2 billion shillings to be spent in one family of Mr. and Mrs. Museveni. They can spend all the money they want as the rest starve. And Museveni will shamelessly come and say, there is nothing to do, just tighten your belts. For him, he's not entitled to have a belt. He doesn't need any belt. It's you to tighten your belts. So that is the cause of the crisis. Having no voice, living in a country without voice, having people without power. So the struggle that the country must undertake is to regain power, to regain influence in the country. That's the struggle, to shift power from those who captured it to those who don't have it. It's a power shift. Now, so the last point I want to make is how does that power shift from those who captured it to those who are now victims of powerlessness? How does the power shift? Will it shift by those who captured us organizing elections and that we come and vote and they say, okay, now you have power, you can now take over the country? It won't happen. And that's what we are confirming today, that the elections in and of themselves will not shift power from those who captured it with the guns to the people of Uganda. It will not shift. Or, what now I hear our brother who has just defected from us, if he was with us, the now Minister Norbert Mao, that he has gone to lead a process for dialogue to have reforms in the country. And that is why he has gone to organize dialogue so that there are reforms in the country. How will those reforms return the power? Even if you organize the dialogue and the reforms are actually done, let's suppose he has been successful. He has organized the dialogue, the reforms have been done. How will the reforms return the power? Because you heard from Omolodi that all the things that were done in all these by-elections, Kayunga, Omolo, Soroti, were all illegal. They were all unconstitutional. You know? It's not that there is a bad constitution or there are bad laws. No. It's that there is impunity. Those with power override whatever law is there. They do what they want. So if you change the law, who will make sure that that law actually is respected? How? How will the laws be respected? How can the Constitution be respected? So dialogue, while power remains controlled by those who captured it by force, will not shift that power to those who don't have it. You can change the laws, you can change the constitution even, you can change all, but who will respect it? And whenever they want to change the constitution anywhere at any stage, they can change it again, as they have been doing. So, the way to get back our power is unite all of us and the population to be rallied together. And once that happens, and I am very excited that I can see it now beginning to happen, I can see it happen. Even if it was tomorrow, if we say tomorrow, let all of us do this, this regime has absolutely no capacity to stop it. You know, that's no capacity. So, the people must reclaim their power by action. They must take the actions that gave them back their power. And this statement we are signing today, I am very glad is saying that. That we shall not go to lament that our people have been arrested, oh, now what can we do? Now they have stamped the ballot papers. No. That we are now all going to organize. First of all, give the message to the people that it is us to ensure our own freedom. And once they get the message, we organize them to now move to take actions that will ensure their rights are respected. Not asking to serve our government to Uganda. We are not going to. Government is our servant, must become our servant. We cannot be our master that we are begging it, asking it. No. So I am very, very excited this afternoon that we are witnessing all patriots. These are the patriots, people who care for their country. Not thieves calling themselves patriots. Like the other day you saw Mr. Museveni in uniform, and he put on that uniform to send a message to frighten people in the uniform on the eve of elections, saying, I am going to kill anybody who disturbs peace. And later he said, you know, I am the patriot. He's a patriot of starving Ugandans. How can you call yourself a patriot who has been in charge of a country 37 years and the people are being buried for lack of food? How can you be a patriot? So, thank you, patriots, for this today. And Muwonge, siri musanyufu okuba nti tutwala ekiseera kinene nnyo nga tuvunula bye twayogedde mu Lungereza tubiteeka mu nnimi endala, kubanga nammwe omwana gutusonyiweeko ne mugukola. Yes, and essaawa, time is of essence, you know. So bwe njogera mu Luganda vunula oteeke mu Lungereza, bwe njogera mu Lungereza teeka mu Luganda nga bwe tukola emirimu ebirala. Nayogedde ensonga ssatu. Ekisooka nti embeera embi ennyo etalabikangako mu ggwanga lyaffe eri mu bantu baffe olwaleero bonna, embeera y'obuteesobozesa kweyimirizaawo ng'omuntu. Bannayuganda bonna teri akyasobola kweyimirizaawo, teri akyasobola kwefunira mmere nafuna ebikozesebwa awaka neyeeyimirizaawo. Embeera eyo ffenna gye tulimu olwaleero ekigireese mbeera ya byanfuna, mbeera bya buweereza, nti mu malwaliro temuli malagala, abaana ku ssomero babazizzaayo waka n'ekiseera ky'okuwummula nga tekinatuuka kubanga tebakyasobola kubalabirira mu masomero. Embeera y'obuweereza n'ebyenfuna eva mu byobufuzi, teyereese yekka, eva mu byobufuzi. Ebyobufuzi ebigamba nti bannansi abo abali mu mbeera y'akatyabaga gye tulimu olwaleero nti tebalina ddoboozi mu ggwanga lyabwe. N'olwekyo ebyobugagga bw'eggwanga tebibakolera kubanga tebalina ddoboozi. ebyasangibwawo nga twali twabikunganya ebyobugagga bwaffe obwawamu mu 86 mwami Museveni we yayingirira mu gavumenti bye yasangawo nga tukunganyiza ebyawamu sente zaali mu commercial bank, Uganda commercial bank, cooperative bank, simanyi biki, Uganda Airways, simanyi Uganda Airlines, simanyi Uganda Hotels, simanyi biki, bye twali tukunganyiza byonna babigabana abatono ne babitwala. Kati sente zetusolooza zebatusoloozaamu ku mundu era kubanga tetulina ddoboozi erigamba nti otugjeemu nnyingi oba erigamba nti z'otutte zo zigenda kutukolera ki, batwala ne bakozesa nga bwe bakola ki nga bwe baagala. So omutawaana bwe tuwangaliramu olwaleero guva mu byabufuzi eby'abantu mu ggwanga batalina ddoboozi. Ekituleese wano kye tukola kwe kugonjoola embeera kubanga batalina ddoboozi bava batya mu butabeera na ddoboozi ne balifuna. Bw'oba tolina buyinza ova otya mu mbeera y'obutabeera na buyinza n'obufuna. Oyo yabukuwambako asobola kukutegekera akalulu akakuwa obuyinza bumuveeko bugende gy'oli nga yabuwamba buwambe. Kye babadde batulaga mu kulonda bwonna bwe tuyiseemu babadde batulaga nti obuyinza obusalirawo eggwanga lino ffe tubuyina, ffe tusalawo ani anaasalirawo eggwanga simwa. Kye babadde batulaga abantu ne bakuba akalulu n'okukakuuma ne bakakuuma n'ebivuddemu nebirabika ne bagamba nti ne balangirira ebirala. Kati gwe kola kyoyagala bw'oddukira mu kooti ekivaayo kyekyo omuloodi kyayogeddeko ti ne kooti nazo ziri mu buwanga. Ate babiwamba tulaba kooti amagye gagirumba misana tuku. Kooti gye tuddukiramu Black Mamba zagirumba ne zigisaanyaawo nga tulaba misana. Palamenti gye tuwoza tulina palamenti amagye gagirumba ne gagiwamba nga tulaba misana. Abamu bakyali ku migo abakubibwa mu palamenti bamenyeko emigongo. So bakulaga nti temuyina buyinza ffe tubasalirawo. Kati badde bazze batulaga mu kalulu konna bwe tugendamu bwe kye bagezaako okutulaga. Bwe balaba kubanga baagala ensonga lwaki bategeka akalulu baagala kweraga eri wabweru nti nabo bayise mu mbeera y'akalulu. So kati basobola okusalawo ako mukabalekera ako nakali ako mukabawe basobole okugamba nti tutegeka obulaki nga mwemuli mu palamenti namwe mulaba mwemuli. Kati bwe tubawangula bwe mukaayana bwe muwangula temukaayana naye nga temwawa simu be bakkiriza nti ako kabakatwale nakali kabakatwale. So ffe tulowooza era nga kyetukunganiddeko olwaleero nti akalulu tetujja kukkiriza kagende mu maaso bwe kati nga balimba nsi yaffe nga balimba n'abeeweeru. Tetujja kusigala nga tukola nga bye tubadde tukola. Batudde babakutte munnange. Tetujja kugenda mu kalulu kulajjana. Bwe tuba tugenze mu kalulu tugenda kubuulira abantu abali eri abaagala enkyukakyuka beekolemu omulimu okulaba nti obuyinza bwabwe babulwanirira mu kalulu. Tetulaga ate abantu bwe tubanga twegasse ne tugamba ensi yonna nti enkya kino kye kirina okutambula ffenna ne tukyegatiramu ne kitambula Mwami Museveni wakoma. Tuli maanyi gasobola ne bwaba n'emmundu ezifaanana zitya n'ebimotoka nga tusazeewo eggwanga lyonna ne tusalawo nti tetukyatambula na kino tukiyimiriza kijja kuyimirira. N'olwekyo ndowooza enneetegeka yeetambule tulabe kubanga bw'obba akano tobba bantu abantu basigalawo abantu bemwalaba ensolo tibali bonna bemwalaba gyebali ye tayinaayo so bwe tugamba ti solo tyeyimirire ejja kukola ki ejja kuyimirira kubanga bagireka ngaetambula tabalina ate ngaabo bamala ngaababe lwakuba bakyamulaba nga yayina ensawo omusobola okuva ensako gye bajjamwako okulya naye bwe balabanga n'ekyo takyakisobola teri ajja kumubeerako so tuli basanyufu nti olwaleero bannayuganda ffenna bandowooza zonna tujjeyo eddoboozi nti tutambulire wamu tusooke tulabe nti bannayuganda obuyinza bwabwe bubaddidde kati bweba n'obuyinza bwe basobola okusalawo abaagala okuwagira nkola ki oba nkola ki wetusobola okufuna akalulu ak'amazima abantu nga bamaze okufuna obuyinza so mbeebaza mwenna abatambuziza endowooza eno ate endowooza twebaze oba oliawo nakeyongerayo muganda wange Robert Kyagulanyi kubanga yeyagambye kwe twavudde esoloti n'agamba nti bannange kati kiyitiridde twekolemu ki twekolemu of course ffe nga bwe mbagambye ebyebibiina twali twabiteeka ddabbali ffe tubadde olwedde tukola ki olwedde tubadde tutambula kujjako nti babadde batwala ne munnanga ono yekka obaoliawo gati bajja kututwala ffenna ekintu kirabike bulungi kale mwebale nnyo mwebalire ddala nga tulabe ebinadda
simanyi oba ne KMC naye avunula mu Uganda. Thank you very much, Dr. Kiza Besigye. And now having the pleasure to invite the President of National Unity Platform to make his comments.
Thank you very much, Sir. Thank you very much, Comrade Dr. Besigye and other leaders that have addressed us today. No, Dr. Besigye, ina kyabadde asabye ate kyandinkoledde abadde agambye tugere mu lulimi lumu mwe mubikyuse kati nanjogedde mu Luganda ebyoluzungu ne mubikyusa. But for the importance of conveying this message, I'll also use both languages. Most has been said. I cannot overemphasize the words of our brother, the Lord Mayor Elias Lukwago. I certainly cannot overemphasize the words of Dr. Besigye. Just exactly the truth and more. Where we are, ladies and gentlemen, we all see. We cannot pretend not to see. We cannot pretend not to see that Museveni organizes elections, but in real sense organizes a fight where he is over-equipped and we are zero-equipped. You saw the general elections of 2021, you saw Kayunga, you saw Omoro, now you've seen Soroti and many other places. Many times when we just go into elections, get out of that crazy election only to go into another without anything, gives the wrongest message to our people. In many ways, we tend to legitimize those elections. When we leave Kayunga, just into another election, even when the Kayunga election has been a bogus one, we tend to fit into Museveni's narrative. However, we've always agreed that we go into these elections, as running platforms. However, when things come in certain ways, we have to think in certain ways as well, ladies and gentlemen. Now, having heard from my fellow leaders, I just want to send messages to two types of people, maybe three. First, I want to send a message to my fellow leaders. Leaders from different political parties, different formations, from different levels. Number one, I think the time has come for us to change our gospel, for us to change our message and be more realistic to the electorate. We go into the election promising change, even at MP level, even when we know that when one becomes an MP under the Museveni regime, apart from agitating, apart from using the parliamentary platform, we can change very little. Therefore, it's my considered view that our message should be more of a revolutionary message. Whether campaigning for MP or even for LC1, the main agenda should be using that election. One, to sensitize people, but also make that election, no matter how small it is, a spark to chase the junta. I think the election should be more for sensitization than for winning. In any case, we know that Museveni decides days, sometimes months before the election, who the winner will be. So let's go into these elections, not looking at them as normal elections, because they are not normal elections. When you're going to an election, let the people know, let our supporters and voters and followers know what exactly we're going into, so that when they come from that election, whatever comes from that election, we have taken another step towards our liberation. Number two, let us try as much as possible to make that particular election a spark. Museveni is making mistakes all the time. So don't go to an election only looking for a win and walking away from there. Let's go to Kuzoganya. Because that is the reality of it. Let us try to go into every election knowing that that particular election, wherever it is, can be a spark that chases Museveni away. Let us remember the Arua election. I mean, we go to elections now. They arrest our leaders. They kill some of our people. We don't do nothing. That should challenge us as leaders to think of what makes sense. Third and most important message to the leaders. Friends, let us unite. Let us unite in the real sense of unity. And this message doesn't only go to leaders at presidential or MP levels, but at all levels. You notice, friends, that we have made it easy for Museveni by fighting each other. We have changed our targets from the enemy to each other. And it's unfortunate that even those that work closely with us are not making it easy for us to come together. Now, this country is bigger than our political parties. And the mission is bigger than building our political parties. In any case, one would rightly argue that there are no political parties in Uganda because we don't operate like political parties. Political parties are recognized in a democracy. But in a country where you cannot even organize as a political party, then we cannot boast of being political parties. Therefore, we are all slaves. And the more we fight against each other, it's the more we prolong it from a 7. I will mention that many of us leaders are working closely to each other, but you, our followers, you, our supporters, and you, our fellow leaders, especially those below us, are making it easy for us to unite and therefore unite you as well. For example, I might have a very good communication line with the Dr. Besije, with the Honorable Kwako, with the Honorable Asumani Vasariwa. But again, those under me might undermine the same. And the same thing also applies to the other side. You know, I might be relating very well with Dr. Besije. You don't know how many times you have a coffee, how many times you discuss. But the more that I hear negativity from his side, or he hears negativity from my side, it even creates that suspicion. And friends, please make it easy for us to work together. And my second and final message goes to the people of Uganda. We leaders have united, or at least have made an effort to unite for a common cause. But we are only leaders, and if you don't follow us where we go and where we show you, we won't succeed. So please get involved. Number one, fellow Ugandans, and this includes supporters, voters, even we the leaders, because we are also Ugandans. We are on our own, you are on your own. Therefore, get involved. Don't depend on only leaders, don't depend on only politicians. You've seen politicians sell out. Now think about those who are following Mao. So don't over-depend on just the politicians. I want to believe that most of Ugandans know now where we want to go. Play a role, lead from whatever angle, from whatever position you are. Lead your people to where you want them to go. We encourage you to rise up. And on this note, I want to salute the people of Jinja, the people of Eastern Uganda, the people of Busoga, thank you. Rise up, especially non-violently. Protest. Protest. Dictators only listen to protests. Don't give up, my friends, because non-violent protests work. The reason why Museveni will come to you with all manner of ammunition, with all manner of weapons, because he knows that's what dropped all the dictators before him. You saw it happened in Sudan. Recently it happened in Sri Lanka. So let us rise, friends. You Ugandans, you have a big role to play in this. Do not give up. Continue protesting. I encourage it. I know that whenever the people of Uganda realistically threaten Museveni, that's when he comes out with brute force. But continue shaking him, continue shaking him. He's not as firm as he used to be, and we won't be as firm tomorrow as he is now. So continue shaking him. Last but not least, I want to remind you, friends, that much as there are political parties, the original inspiration, at least to myself and my team, was people power, was the power of the people. People power means you. When you go to elections and you're frustrated, at least you know you have the power. Organize, 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 connect with all like minds. The biggest objective is to drop Museveni. These other, intentions are smaller. One might want to become MP, you come from that election, they become MP, they become mayor. But for as long as Museveni is president, we are still in trouble. So let's pursue the common agenda, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, I always listen to mention that we are non-violent. We do not promote violence. However, I know that there will come a time when we cannot stop even those violent ones. Okay? The Constitution commands us to defend it. The Musevenis, when they were younger, they picked up guns. Do they think people can't pick up guns? So we might not be encouraging people to pick up guns, but again, we're losing the moral authority to stop whoever wants to do whatever. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, I want to call upon all Ugandans, whether you're a political leader, religious leader, traditional cultural leader, etc., stand on the right side of history. We have seen not only politicians selling their souls, we've also seen religious leaders, we've seen traditional leaders, but the people are watching, the people are supreme. And at the end of the day, you'll end up in the dustbin of history. Museveni has already wasted it. So don't follow the corpse to the grave. Right here, Zoom, see you coming out. Kambide mu Uganda mpola mpola okusooka ajja kwebaza abakulembeze bannaffe olw'okubeera naffe leero batwogerako ery'eggwanga. Ebisinga byogeddwa era sibiwakanya, binkiikirira bulungi nnyo, wabula nze obubaka bwange bwa mirundi ebiri. Obusooka bugenda eri bakulembeze bannange. Oluvannyuma lw'okununulira okulonda kuno okutegekebwa nga kubanga kwa kubudisa abantu kubaziba amaaso tugenda mu kulonda naye nga Museveni yasazeewo dda wiiki nyingi oba mwezi oba myezi ani agenda okulonda. Ne tugenda mu kalulu abantu ne bajogebwa eddoboozi ly'abantu ne livulugibwa naye ate ne tuvayo ne tugenda bugenzi mu kalulu kalala. Kibanga ekigamba nti tuzze wano ne Museveni alage naddala amawanga agavugirira Uganda ssente nti okulonda kubaddewo era awangudde. Era twayogeddemu ne bakulembeze bannange ne tugamba ekyo tekigenda kugenda maaso bwekityo ensibi egenda okubeera emanya y'enkoko. N'olw'ensonga eyo obubaka bwange nga nze eri bakulembeze bannange buli nti bwe tuba tugenda mu kulonda tukyuse enjiri yaffe nga tugenda mu kulonda, tukyuse message yaffe nga tugenda mu kulonda. Abantu baleme kugenda mu kulonda nga basuubira nti tugenda kulonda kati omuntu atuyambe. In any case ne bwe baba balangiridde oyo gwe bagadde okulangirira ng'ali ku ludda lwaffe kitono kyasobola okukyusa Museveni bw'aba nga yakyatufutumaddeko. N'olw'ensonga eyo tugende nga mu kulonda bwe tuba tugenze mu kulonda tugende mu kulonda nga tumanyi nti tugenze mu lutalo, nga tumanyi nti tugenze kuzoganya era nga tumanyi nti tugenze kuwagala abantu. Tugende mu kulonda nga tunuyidde ebintu bingi naye okusingira ddala okulonda okwo guyinza okubeera emmanduso egenda okutwala Museveni. Kuba buli kulonda Museveni akola ebyobuswavu bingi nnyo, buli kulonda Museveni amenya amateeka mangi nnyo, ajoga bannayuganda bangi nnyo. Ekyennaku abantu ne basigala nga tebalina kye bakoze okusinziira ku kye baba balina okukola n'okusinziira ku joogo lye baba bataddeko. Ekirala ekyokusatu njagala obasaba bakulembeze bannange tukwatagane tukolagane kubanga tulina ebitugatta bingi okusinga ebitwawula. Naate nga n'ekitugattira ddala ekisinga obukulu ekisinga byonna kyekyokuba nti ffenna tuli basibe, ffenna twagala kujjako Museveni. Tuyinza okugenda mu kulonda nga tuli babibiina bya njawulo ne tulumagana okwawukana mu bibiina oba okwawukana mu bakandideti ne kijjawo ekifaananyi ekikulu, ne kijjawo mission enkulu ye Museveni kiba kimukolera. Nkiraba ebiseera bingi mufa abakulembeze naddala abali wansi waffe ne bawagizi baffe nga ne bwe tugezaako okukwatagana bo tekibakolera. Njagala okubategeeza nti bwe tulumagana tuba tuyamba Museveni. Tetwetaaga okuba ba mukwano, tetwetaaga kuba nga tukubiragana essimu, naate era tetwetaaga kulwanagana kuba Museveni ayagala nga tulwanagana. In fact ajja kuinvestinga kyamaanyi nnyo okulaba ng'ateekawo okubagana wakati waffe kubanga kikusala sipiidi. Ffe abakulembeze tuyinza okuba tukwatagana. For example kyogeddeko mu luzungu wano nti olumu tukyaliragana n'abakulembeze naye ate mmwe bannange bakulembeze bannaffe naddala abatuli wansi mukifuula kizibu offe okukwatagana, mukifuula kizibu okukolagana. Buli otekinga step okolagana ebigambo ebibadde muli birina kubanga bituikaleginga nti ekyo kyemukola kituufu kubanga kituufu. Naate bwe tukwatagana ate mwe ne mulufuula lutalo wakati wammwe mubiba mu bikalu bya bannange muba mutulemesa. Ffe tumanyi n'okwekubira akasimu ne tunywa nekacaayi ne kati gwe kuba akafaananyi ng'oli wa NUP mbadde ne Dr. Besigye ate ng'amanyi nti oli ttaano wange naye naalaba ate ng'owandiise booti olowooza nti abatanneekengeri. Abaffe gwe kuba akafaananyi tinookola naye ne tukwatagana naye ate nendaba ng'obaka obudde gy'oli buli negative mbasigenda mwekengera. N'olw'ensonga eyo mukutukaluubiriza bannange mutugondeze okukwatagana kubanga mulisawo. Obubaka bwange obusembayo nja kusindika eri bannayuganda. Sookera ddala mujjukire nti muli ku lwammwe, mulekerawo okwesiga okulonda kwokka kuba okulonda kwokka tekugenda bayamba. Elections alone will not help you. Our recent history has shown us. So tulina okugenda mu kulonda nga tulina ebirowoozo eby'enjawulo. Mumanye nti tujjeeyo okulonda tuba tuzze bagatta, tuba tuzze kubawagala. Okusingira ddala okulonda tulina okugenda mu kulonda nga tugenze kuzoganya. Tetukyanguyiza Museveni kubeera tuvudde mu kulonda ate ne tudda mu kulala bwe tuti. Ffe nga ffe ekyatuleeta mu byobukulembeze twajja kusitula amaanyi g'abantu kyetwayita people power. Naye people power yemmwe ffe nga abakulembeze tusobola okulaba ekkubo ne tulikwata namwe ne tubayita naye ate bwe mutatugoberera kwata kuba eri tuba tetukola ki tetujja kumalako. N'olw'ensonga eyo bannange bwe tubasongeranga awantu mukole kyetaagisa. Ekirala nja kubasaba musitukiremu buli musobola buli waba message oba evudde wange oba evudde wani kaseba nga message yakuzoganya Museveni kumujjako mujettanire musitukiremu mu mbeera eno njagala n'okwebaza abaana b'ebusoga abaana b'ejjinja kwebaleka okwebereramu engeri yokka esobola okujjako Museveni kale nammwe wemulabanga bannamwe nga basituse oba baluwa bwe basituse Uganda yonna esituke oba ab'Uganda bwe basituse Uganda yonna esituse oba ab'ekabale basituse mwenna musituke engeri yokka gyetugenda okusobola kutaasa eggwanga lyaffe nsonga lwaki Museveni ajjayo n'atemula abantu kubanga munnanga akimanyi nti engeri yokka bannakyemalya gye bagenda engeri yokka bannakyemalya w'e Sudan gyagenze engeri yokka nakyemalya w'e Sri Lanka gyagenze n'olw'ensonga eyo bwe mulabanga bannamwe bayimukiddemu nammwe musitukiremu basebo ne bannyabo nja kumaliriza nga mbasaba kubanga kukubadde okusaba kwaffe bwe muba mwekalakaase mu ddembe bwe muba mwekalakaasa temukola fujjo ffe yenkola yaffe tukkiririza mu kwekalakaasa nkiddamu tukkiririza mu kwekalakaasa era tubakunga mwenna buli alina omukisa yekalakaase mu ddembe neera tubategeeza ne gavumenti eyo tugitegeeza tuwadde ffe abantu bagamba kwekalakaasa mu ddembe tumanyi nti ekiseera kijja kutuuka nga abantu bakoye bekalakaase mu neekalakaasa yonna yonna ng'etaddeko n'eri eyakaali Museveni bekalakaasa na mundu n'olw'ensonga eyo kiyamba mwami Museveni ne gavumenti ye obutasindiikiriza abantu ku levo ya kwekalakaasa na mundu maliriza ng'era nkunga bannayuganda mwenna muorganizinge mu mbeera yammwe oba muli mu kibiina kyammwe kya byabufuzi oba temuli pate kuba bangi nnyo tebali pate naffe aba NUP twasooka kubeera people power era njagala nnyo bwe tuba tukola ebintu tobikola just nga wa kibiina kyo bwe tuba twagala okujjako Museveni ebyafaayo byonna bitulaga nti tewali kibiina era twakyogerako nti tewali kibiina kyonna kigenda kujjako nakyemalira nga kiri kyokka ekibiina kyonna ekigenda okujja kigambe nti ffe nga ffe tugenda okujjako nakyemalira baba musujjira muba mwina kukwatagana mwenna ate si bibiina byabufuzi byokka tuli wano nga bakulembeze naye muli eyo bannayuganda bangi nnyo abasobola okwekolamu omulimu mugende mu maaso nga mwekolamu omulimu tubawagira mu buli ngeri yonna nammwe bannayuganda munnayuganda yenayina abaako kyayita abaako meseji gy'abatuusaako nga yakuzoganya Museveni mumwegatteko naffe tujja beegattako ate naffe bwe tubayita mutwegatteko tukolere wamu tusobole okugejjako nakyemalira basebo ne bannyabo mwebale nnyo mwebalire
Yes, ebyo byebigambo by'omukulembeze w'eggwanga His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu byayogedde mu biwulidde nja kusobola obiddamu ebitonotono yadde ebigambo by'omukulu tebiddibwamu naye tukkirize nti ne mu kirasi mubamu basira olanda.
Before I invite the next leader, I want to recognize the presence of leader of the opposition in Parliament, the Honorable Mathias Kipuga. Also recognize the presence of the chairman, Elder Haji Muhammad Mayanja Shibirige, my colleague MP Chamswa, the Honorable Moses Kabusu. May I now invite the President of JBMuwonge, the Honorable Asumani Basariwa, because I failed to limit the time for the ones who spoke earlier. I am now powerless.
Abakulembeze bannange nja kusooka n'olulimi lwe nsinga okutegeera Oluganda lwesitegeera bulungi Oluzungu lwejja okusembyayo. Ffe tuli wano nga abajeema kukakasa era kwegatta ku kiwandiiko ekikoleddwa era nekisomebwa wano olwaleero, era nga twagala kuwa bweyamu nti ebiri mu kiwandiiko ekyo byonna tujja bikolerako. Ennaku zino waliwo ekintu kye balina okuŋŋamba tekinsanyusa. Bagamba nti basalirwa kati ye pulezidenti w'ekibiina mu opposition akyasinza okuwangaala ennyo. Bano bonna abaliwo bansanga nga nkulembera kibiina. So unduddewo nnyo. I am the longest serving party president of an opposition political party in Uganda currently. No, Kenny Luchamus, I was earlier than you, I remember. Naye ate mukulwawo nnyo nfunyemu ebyokuyiga bingi. Kakati enteekateeka zino zonna zizze zibeerawo nga nziri wakati. Okuviira ddala eri wansi tuli mu IPFC, tuzaawo tuli mu IPC, tuli mu FOC, tuli mu 4GC, tuli mu TDA, tuli mu People Power nga basalirwa wendi. N'olwekyo bino byonna bye tulaba wano ebikolebwa tubibaddemu naye ate ebbanga lye tubimazeemu eggwanga lifunyemu. N'olwekyo nja kwebaza abakulembeze bannange olw'okuteekawo enteekateeka muganda wange Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu ne ttiimu abaalabye obwetaavu okulaba nti tuddemu tutandike okukwatagana ng'era bwe tubadde tukola ebbanga lyonna ku lw'obulungi bw'eggwanga. Emabega eyo tubadde tuyina nnyo essuubi mu bululu obuddibwamu by election. Sikyeekyo ng'era bwe bagamba nti wagenda kubeerawo by election mu Uganda wonna nga waliwo essuubi nti by election eyo ab'opposition bajja giwangula. Naye eryo essuubi ligenze likola ki? Liggwawo. Twakiraba Omoro, ne tukiraba e Kayunga, tukirabye e Soroti, newange awalala we wagenda okubeera sirowooza nti eryo essuubi likyaliwo. Kyova olaba nga enkola eno oba enteekateeka eno nnungi nnyo kuba ejja kutuzza ku mulamwa ogw'okumanya ensi yaffe gy'eraga. Finally, I am here to confirm that as Justice Forum, we fully associate with the statement or document that has been read today, that has been signed by leaders of political parties and formations that are gathered here. We commit to fully abide by both the letter and spirit of that document, because it is our considered opinion that that document represents the future of this country. I want to invite colleagues to remember that in the recent past, each time we have had a by-election, it was a sure win for the opposition. But that possibility every day is waning, is disappearing, is dissipating. That means the need for us to come together to discuss, to engage for the future of the country becomes necessary. It is now absolutely clear that Mr. Museveni and the NRM are provoking Ugandans. When you see what happened in Soroti, it is total provocation. What happened in Kayunga is total provocation. What happened in Omoro is total provocation. Now, these provocations, by the way, are deliberate. And they are intended to send a message, let's do this after all. What will they do? I think this is the answer. So whoever thinks they are going to provoke Ugandans, and we shall sit aside, I think this is a very big lesson. I want to remind you, colleagues, that even as leaders can be vulnerable, but as the call has been made, this struggle must be owned by Ugandans. It is you, the Ugandans, that must take this struggle ahead. In the countries where there have been change, I'll ask, and I'll talk about a country where I have been, or where I was several times before the revolution, Libya. I used to go to Libya almost every year because there used to be events there. There was no opposition in Libya. It was not there. Who among us journalists here can tell us who was the leader of opposition during the era of brother leader Muammar Gaddafi? Who? Because Gaddafi was the imam, was the leader of the opposition, was the mufti, was everything. But time came, the people rose up, even without leadership. year, this young man who set himself ablaze, he was not a member of any political party. So that should be able to tell Ugandans that when it comes to reclaiming your country, when it is about your country, you must take charge without necessarily looking at us, the leaders. We will be present, we will provide the leadership. But if you think we are taking you to the wrong direction, please reclaim your country, because after all, this is about you, this is about Uganda. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the President of JBMuwonge. You see, Soroti was very interesting. At a polling station called Akum Catholic Church, the people they sent to arrest FDC agents didn't know them. So they also arrested an NRM agent. An NRM agent, his name is called Michael. He has been released on the same poll with FDC. They discovered that even there they had arrested. So that's how rampaging these people were. They are now inviting the president of PPP, and then we will be concluding this press conference.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Thank you. Fellow leaders, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what I'm going to add on what my fellow leaders have said, but I will just make a few comments just to augment on what my leaders have said. First of all, I want to thank Honorable the President of NUP for this initiative, because this has been long overdue. This has been long overdue. We have been talking about it every day, every time. But because of these differences and those differences, every initiative that has been that we have been doing to make sure that we come together has been in vain. So I want to thank you very much that at least today you have managed to rally us and brought us together here. But I also want to thank Dr. Besigye. You know very well that in the recent past, Dr. Besigye, Honorable Mr. Albega Mukapo and others took the initiative to try to rally us together. They invited us in meetings, we sat in meetings until we reached a level of signing a memorandum of understanding to work together, where People's Progressive Party did not sign, because our point was that we cannot claim to be uniting when National Unity Platform, which is the biggest party now in the opposition, is not part of the unity. So we thought that it would be relevant if we came together, National Unity Platform, FDC, DP at that time before they joined the eating group, we thought that we would be together to have a formidable group, a formidable formation that can shake this dictatorial regime. Honorable Basayo has talked about previous initiatives to come together. I have been part of almost all those initiatives, Honorable Basayo, as you remember. Since 1996, some of us have been part and parcel of the fight to liberate Uganda from this dictatorial regime. But what is it that has failed in all of these initiatives? We must ask that big question. Honorable Robert Chagulanyi, Dr. Besigye, all other fellow leaders, we must ask a big question. What is it that has failed all the other initiatives that we have tried to put in place? For instance, there was a time when I don't know whether it was IPFC, whether they were going to sign a memorandum of understanding, and one of the party leaders did not turn up. So, to me, this honesty is what we must deal with if we are to unite. This honesty is very, very important, is the key in everything, more especially in the political struggle where we are fighting a dictator who can at any one point in time can infiltrate the group and use some elements within the organized groups to disorganize the group. So honesty is very, very important if this initiative that we have started shall progress. So it's very, very important. I also want to augment another point. We are all politicians here, but there are some bodies, professional bodies, religious bodies in this country. Where are you? Where are you? Journalists, where are you? This message we are conveying is not about politicians alone. Where are you? This is about your freedom. This is about liberating your country. Being a journalist does not mean that you are affiliated to some political, parties. You must have a cause as, professional bodies. In countries like Sudan, when they were chasing away Bashir, all professional bodies, law societies, journalists, every, professional body came out and went to the streets. At one point in time here, when there was no walk to work, it is Kasita that wrote a letter to government to come and, and disperse the crowds that had come to participate in walk to work. Now, where are they? All their businesses have crippled. Nobody can now do anything. But because at that moment in time they thought that it is only the politicians who are being harassed or are being persecuted. Now it has eaten everybody. So I want also to call upon all of us, because here in this country, when they are touching on Batembei, those in Owino claim that no, for us we are not in Owino, it is about Batembei. When they are touching on border people and they are trying to demonstrate, the Owino people claim that for them they are not riding borders. When are we going to come out together that what is touching me is touching him and it is touching this one? That is what we must do to make sure that we create a political mass. In fact, our participation in these elections, as Honorable Chakurani has just said, is not about winning alone. Because what Museveni is doing is to create apathy amongst our population, creating apathy so that we no longer participate in that election. That is what he's trying to do. You are saying that he's provoking us. No, he's deliberately creating that apathy so that at the end of the day, the population shall resign and say we should not participate anymore. Our participation is to try to create a critical mass, and we must continue participating, it doesn't matter what, so that we build that critical mass that shall ultimately do what Dr. Messi is saying. That is what took Museveni in the election of 1980. He knew he was not going to win. He knew. But he participated to create a justification for him to go and do what he did. So our participation is majorly to try to build that critical mass, and we must continue doing that. Just like I said, everything has been said. I'm just echoing, I'm just augmenting some of the points that my colleagues have just, elaborated well here. But how can we work with the Electoral Commission I was talking to Honorable Chagulanyi here and I was giving him a scenario. Here we are talking about Omoro, we are talking about Soroti. But you remember the time when Honorable Chagulanyi was arrested in Luoka. When the Chairman Electoral Commission was asked whether he knew what was happening in Luoka, he said for him, he did not have a DSTV at home. Therefore, he could not see and witness what had gone on in Luoka. Can you imagine where such an institution that is supposed to be the presiding officer in an election, somebody comes out in a joking way and say, for me, they had cut me off the DSTV and I could not see. You remember the consequences of his arrest, where hundreds of people died. Here is a lawyer, a senior lawyer, whom you think that at one point in time sanity would prevail, but he said he didn't see. So we must make sure that we rally together to force this dictatorial regime out. With those few remarks, mbadde ngamba nti nebaza Honorable Kyagulanyi okutuleeta together. Kino tubadde tukirwanirira nga tukirwanirira ebbanga lyonna. Ate era nebaza Dr. Kiza Besigye, Mr. Mukaku ne banne, kubanga kino bo baali bakitandikako dda. Naye bwe bakitandika abamu ku ffe twakirimu. Naye bwe baali basayininga twaga nti nedda tetujja kusayininga, tujja kuba observer era tujja kukolagana nammwe. Era in fact, Mr. Sinde here, Mr. Sinde, can you stand up for recognition? This is a BPP member who is an administrator in PFT initiative. So we have been working with them. Naye twe twasayininga nga tubagamba nti kyetaagisa ffenna tubeere wamu. Era natwala omutawaana okusiika na Honorable Kyagulanyi emirundi egiwera nga njagala tugende okwegatta nga ekibiina ekisinga obunene mu ggwanga eky'opposition mu kwegatta omwo mwekiri. Ndi happy, ndi musanyufu kyolwaleero Honorable Kyagulanyi akikoze ekitusobola okwegatta. Mbagambye nti ffenna mu Uganda tulina obligation okulwana luno olutalo. Mmwe abamawulire mwe mwennyini muli part and parcel of this struggle. Muleme kulowooza nti mwe mujja kuripootinga bye twogedde. Namwe mulina obuvunaanyizibwa okuddayo bino ne mubyamplifyinga ate ne mubigazira n'okutusinga kubanga kuba n'obudde bungi. Bwe baba babonyaabonya abamawulire, babonyaabonya bannabyabufuzi, nammwe mukola ki? Nammwe mubeeramu. Mu mawanga agaakula empapula z'amawulire zibeera ne sayidi. Toyinza kubeerawo ng'oga nti nze ndi ku fensi siina wendi. Si kive professionally okulaba nga abantu banyigirizibwa naawe n'okola ki? N'ofuna sayidi. Tukubira banna professional bodies, Uganda Law Society, bayinginiya, baani, abantu abali mu bizinensi. Kino tekirina bwe kitajja kutuukako. Bakasiita olumu bawandiika ebbaluwa nga bagamba mbunna abajja mu kibuga okwekalakaasa bagenda kwonoona emirimu gyabwe. Olwaleero bakasiita bagamba nti tewali akola bizinensi ekyakola, zonna zakola ki? Zaagwa. Naye nga baali balowooza nti kwolwo bo baprotectinga ki? Bizinensi zaabwe. So tubakubira omulanga. Bannaddiini, ebintu bisobola kubitya okugenda maaso Soroti ebifaanana bwe bityo. Ne tutalaba babishopu b'e Soroti nga bavuddeyo okubaako kye boogera. Ebintu bigenda bitya mu maaso Amoru, ne tutaba bishopu b'e Amoru nga bavuddeyo okubaako kye bakola ki? Kye boogera. Yes, waliwo abavaayo okwogera. Naye twagala tulabe ku maloboozi ng'ag'abakadino Nsubuga, ng'ag'aba Bishop Kawuma nga gavaayo, kubanga kino ekigenda mu maaso bwe kinaagenda nga kyeyongerayo. N'abagoberezi tebajja kugenda mu kyaki. N'ebigambo ebyo njagala kubeebaza kuwuliriza, naye nakubagamba nti eno message egende ate egende ne wa President Museveni nti luno lwe tutandise tetugenda kudda mabega. Mwebale kumpuliriza.
Thank you very much, President of EPP. I want to invite the Honorable Matthias Puga is our leader in Parliament, commit on our behalf, those of us who do work in Parliament, and then I will advise what we will do next.
Thank you, Comrade Ibrahim Sewiju. Our party leaders, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen, very brief. The presentation here from the different political party leaders summarizes the sentiments of the people and the frustrations of the leaders. Now, sometimes you can be joined together by your goals, but also your frustrations. I think all of us have in a way tested how frustrating to work as either a loner or as a divided group, but pursuing the same goal. I would like this evening, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, to initially thank our leaders for this noble initiative. The cause for Better Uganda can only serve the purpose of joining all of us, regardless of roots, regardless of individual pursuits, regardless of whether we actually are friends. The duty to serve Uganda must, as of necessity, bring us together. And I'm glad today to speak on behalf of members of Parliament from the opposition. Although over the last couple of years, sort of days, I'm still wondering whether I'm still keeping my 9 members that were mortgaged within by the landlord with the municipal resources. So I probably have had a meeting with them over the week to confirm their allegiance to the common cause. Omanyizi wakizunga landlord kutulira mizigo n'agamba nabo bakuwereddemu abapangisa kola kyoyagala. But I would like to most heartily thank our leaders. It's not an easy job for us in Parliament when the foundations from where these members come from are divided. It's an easier job for me to do and enforce my duty and my role as a leader when the roots are firm, when the foundations communicate. And I'm glad today I can crack the whip if anybody veers off the cause of unity of the parties in and outside the Parliament. I want to thank you most sincerely. And I would like to use the same platform to extend the same clarion call to all and sundry that we are not aliens in this country, and that all of us have a duty, and all of us have a capacity. The capacities can vary, the abilities can be different, but all of us can make a contribution to make this country a better country, and that we can actually summon our little energies to make them really bigger energies by working together. Thank you so much for this initiative, and I can pledge and promise that I'm going to rally my troops to move with this initiative. Thank you so much. Obufunze okwebaza obuyiiya buno n'obutetenkanya embeera eno ennyanja embi eno etukwasa ku nkanaga tukkiriza nti buli kimu tukikoze ekibadde kibulawo kwegatta amaanyi gano era njagala kusuubiza olw'abanange mu Parliament nti nange omulimu gwe gujja kwanguwa nga twali yeebuzaabuza ekimuganya okutambula naffe agenda kusooka kulinnya motoka yadire ku kitebe yeebuuze okwebuuza kwawedde musululu moja anaava ku mugendo anaaba atambula lugendo lwe tumagaliza olugendo olulungi n'ekyomula ekyemirembe gy'anaabalaza obwannamulekera ebitusomooza bingi ne mu bunafu bwaffe sekinoomu waliwo amaanyi mangi nnyo abanafu bwe beegatta bafuna amaanyi titubeerangako banafu ffe twenyooma
olwaleero tufunye omukisa okwijjukiza amaanyi gaffe mangi nnyo tugasaasaanya tuwa omulabe omulakulu bwojje n'afaana ng'ow'amaanyi. N'olwekyo nja kubasuubiza mwenna ne bannayuganda abali eyo ogwange ng'alumira ttiimu eri mu palamenti nja kutuukiriza twabeewo yeebuzaabuza nti akyamala kutuuka kwebuuza twamaze dde okwebuuza kutambula ffenna. Mbasuubiza okutambula ne ttiimu eno n'ababaka bonna era ngenda kubayita mu bwangu ddala mu kokasi y'ababaka ba palamenti aba opposition okubategeeza nga alina kyagamba gyebikoze kikyamu awanike omukono mwerekere eka.
Thank you very much. We've done more than 2 hours. We are supposed to have questions, now 10 can't allow. May I invite the chairman of JBMuwonge to give us the closing prayer.
In the name of God, the merciful, the benefactor. Oh Allah, Allah, we thank you for bringing us together like this, for doing something that has not been often done, that is for all the different political parties to come together. We thank you for that, and we pray that you guide this effort, you guide this initiative, you guide all the people who are involved in this, all Ugandans, as it has been emphasized here, those in political parties, those in professional bodies, the individuals, and everybody to work for the liberation of Uganda, for God and my country.
So that marks the end. May I invite our leader to leave? We thank you very much. Yes.
Yes, akyali ku Ghetto TV muganda wange nkwaniriza nate era akyayongera okwaniriza n'okwebaza. Weebale kubeerako muganda wange. Ensonga oziwulidde basiza kimu olunaku olwaleero basiza kimu nga nkuyege okulaba nga ebigenda maaso naddala mu kulonda by elections oba okuddamu okulonda. Tolina zuumu muzeeyi osembedde nnyo muganda wange. Genda maaso n'okutegeeza muganda wange ebibaddewo byebyo mubiwulidde n'ebirala bingi tugenda kuba tubikuleetera mu bifaananyi. Muno mubaddemu FDC, mubaddemu National Unity Platform oba NUP, mubaddemu Jema ne PPU. PPU yino yali eyabina bidandisali. Mutadde maaso Dumba nonya position. Michael tusembere mama tugaziwe Mike tuliziganye abamu bateeri bannange awalambe wali wakufana mukigazi abambi fituma kiyanga tuli bantu mwogedde mu bikutukiriza
much. So let me now only have yes, of course. By all my powers, once the president
advice
President, thank you very much. Can I request for the individuals will have one-on-one with the leaders. Our media, you'll have one-on-one with the leaders for the interview. We have opened individual interviews for the leaders. So feel free to interact with them.
So you want?
I am going to give Jonah the document.
Yes, tukyagenda maaso n'okubaweereza nate era baganda bange tuli wano mu kibuga Kampala ku Africana. Ye nsobola okukyogera kati tuli ku Africana. Ababojjerezi oba ba informa wa state agent musobola okutegeera wawe tuli, musobola kati olukusa lubakkiriza okutegeerawo. Tuli wano ku Africana olunaku olwaleero nga ebibiina oba ba president b'ebibiina muganda wange ebiri ku ludda oluvuganya bavuddeyo olunaku olwaleero okulaba nga boogera ku ebyo ebibadde bibaawo naddala mu kulonda okubadde kuddibwamu bakyoyinza okuyita by elections. Okulonda kuno eno muganda wange kubadde kubeeramu obuvuyo bungi ate nga bwonna bufaanagana. Muno mulimu emmotoka ezitambuza obululu ezikuba abantu esaako n'ezibakwata batera kuzijjako number plate. Okulonda kuno konna babadde batambuza obululu obulonde muganda wange ne babuteeka mu box. Okulonda kuno kwe bawaddeko ebyokulabirako kwa mirundi esatu mubaddemu kyetuyinza okuyita nti bakwata ba agents aba polling agents ababa bateereddwawo okukuuma obululu ne babakwata ne babatwala olwo no munnange ne balyoka bakola ebyaboone oba ne batandika okubba obululu ne batandika okuyiwamu obululu mu ngeri eyeefaanaaniriza bwe zityo. Bikoleddwa nga bibadde bikolebwa omolo era bibadde bikolebwa banokoddeyo Nabbanja, Prime Minister Nabbanja y'omu ku beenyigira mu bikolwa bino. Wano era banokoddeyo Rosemary Seninde y'omu ababeera mu bikolwa muno okuteekamu drone mu kuwamba abantu okubaggulako emisango gye bayise foolish cases oba foolish judges cases ze babaggulako. Mwebale nnyo, mwebalire ddala. Yes, mwebalire ddala mukkirize mbasiibule muganda wange JBMuwonge nkutumiddeko nnyo gyebaleko gyonna gy'otuusaako engalo. Faustine Masaba naawe gyebaleko gyonna gy'otuusaako engalo. Mwana baboyi mwebale kubeera Rio, mwebale kwagala Struggle. Mukkirize mbasiibule ate tujja kuba tukwatagana olunaku olulala. Nsigadde ndi Buganda Ronald Mugenyi okubaweereza nateera. Mwebale nnyo, mwebalire ddala. Njagala okujjukiza njagala okujjukiza abaganda bange bonna abansuubiza kasitandi kali ke twayogerako bannange mbajjukiza emirimu gisobole okutambula obulungi naye nga mwebale nnyo mwebalire ddala nga mbasibula kambalekere eddoboozi lino mugira muliwulirako wanaamaliriza abasiibule officially.
Yes, members, I know you've been watching this press conference. This is Ashraf Kassidia, and I hope you have seen what the leaders have said. However, we must not place all our encouragement into this unity, because we have already seen these guys uniting in the past, and it doesn't come out as we all expect. What we must take out of this press conference is the words of the leader of the National Unity Platform, that is Robert Kyagulanyi, who says it is us, the people who are being led, to lead the leading. We must lead it. We shouldn't allow these leaders to sabotage what we want, what we need our country to go through and get the success of being out of this dictatorship of Yoweri Museveni, Tibuhaura, the way he is called. So the issue is, yes, they have united, they have started this process of uniting. However, we don't know where it will end. We don't know, we can't even perceive where this will end. But the point is, it is us, the people, to lead this and to be asking them, you told us this, you told us that you will be together throughout the process, but look, what are you doing right now? Now look, Robert Kyagulanyi got together with these people sometime back in 2018. Remember, we had a press conference here in 2018, I think, 2018, and Mao was inclusive, General Muntu was inclusive, very many people were inclusive, and they all told us, you know, guys, we are uniting. But when it came to elections in 2020, we saw that everyone had fronted a candidate, a presidential candidate, candidates everywhere in the constituencies, and it really didn't go well because the unity wasn't there. And number two, what disunites us is the money that is being used by the dictator, who steals the money from the taxpayers. We have already seen people being paid, the way Mao was paid, the way this FDC central president Joyce Sebugwao, who was bought. All these people have been bought because Museveni has the notice of stealing the money that is given to him by the taxpayers, we Ugandans. Therefore, it goes back to us. It is us to fight the war. It is us to lead this, and one day we shall get there. See you guys, and maybe one day I'll be able to come back and work with you as I go on to receive my treatment. And please pray for me as I pray for Ugandans. See you, and thank you so much.